Hi, and welcome to Art with Mrs. Torres. It's finally December. I'm so excited. I have been waiting patiently for it to become cooler where I live. And finally, it's feeling like it's going to be winter. Now, we are going to be making a project today about winter wonderland animals. And we are going to be using some basic shapes like a circle, a triangle, a square, and maybe an oval to create our animals. The other items that you are going to be looking for in your house today are a piece of paper. You're going to need a pencil and an eraser. Of course, our Sharpie marker, what we use almost every lesson, and then something to color with. So I'm going to let you choose. You could use markers, you could use colored pencils, or you could use my favorite, crayons. So go ahead and gather up those items and then meet me back here and we will begin our lesson. Hello and welcome to Art with Miss Torres. Let's get ready to draw our little woodland animal picture. We're going to be drawing a reindeer or deer with a little bird that's made a nest up in his antlers. Today we are going to need some paper. You're going to need a pencil, a Sharpie marker, an eraser, and something to color with. You might want to use either crayons or markers. You decide. Go ahead and pause the video, go gather up those items, and meet me back here, and we'll do our project. Let's get ready to draw our characters. So look at how cute this little reindeer is. And he has a bird that's plopped up and made a nest right in the middle of his antlers. This is going to be fun to draw, and don't worry, we're going to be able to do this so simply by drawing some shapes that you already know. The first thing we're going to do is we're going to find the middle of our paper and make a dot in the middle. That dot's going to help us because everything below that dot is going to be our reindeer's face, and everything above that dot is going to be the antlers. So we're going to start from this dot and we're going to draw an oval or circle for our reindeer's face. Next, we're going to draw two lines coming out from the face, and that's going to be the shoulders. The next part of our reindeer are going to be his ears, and we're going to draw a loop on this side and a loop on this side. They kind of almost look like bear's ears, but a little bit lower on the head. Now the next part of our reindeer is going to be a rainbow right in the middle of his face. This is going to end up being his muzzle where we're going to draw his nose. Right here in the middle, we're going to draw a large circle for our deer's nose. Once we draw a circle for our deer's nose, we're going to draw a short line down. And you can make your reindeer smiling or just make a little small loop at the bottom like he's going, oh no! We're going to draw two cheeks right up here next to the muzzle. Now right now it kind of looks like those are his eyes, but these are actually going to be his cheeks. We're going to draw a big circle resting right on those cheeks. Now the next part of our eyes are going to be a little loop right here at the top, kind of like the letter U. That way we can color this part with our pencil. We're going to color it later with our marker. And this top part will be the shiny light in our reindeer's eyes. I'm going to give my reindeer two little lines for eyebrows. And then I'm going to give him a small half curve shape like this, like a rainbow, for the inside of his ears. Now, at this point, I know our reindeer kind of looks like a bear, but we will turn it into a reindeer in just a few minutes. All right, the next part of our reindeer is going to make his cheeks a little rounder. So I'm going to curve my cheek out just a tiny bit on this side. And I'm going to curve my cheek out just a tiny bit on this side. I'm going to take my magic rub eraser and erase the old line where his cheek used to be. Now the next part that I'm going to change is the top of his head. I'm going to give him a couple loops right up here for hair, and then I'm going to erase the top of his head. Now let's get ready to draw some fun antlers. We're going to draw one set of antlers coming up here, and we're going to draw the other set of antlers pointing up to that corner. So we're going to start with a short line like this, and another line right next to it. You should be able to place at least one finger in between. Now I'm going to do the same thing on this side. One short line going up toward the corner of the paper, and another short line next to it. Check that my finger can fit in between those lines. And then we're going to draw this side of the antler first. I'm going to make a loop and another loop. And then I'm going to flip on over to this side, and I'm going to make a loop and another loop. This one's going to be nice and long. And on this side, I'm going to do the same thing, a loop and another loop. And then go over to this side, a loop and another loop. So now I've got two antlers. I've got my cute little reindeer, but he's kind of missing a friend. I was thinking it would be so fun to put a little bird hiding in a nest on top of his head. So I'm going to start by drawing a curved smile, kind of like a bowl shape right here. See how I'm drawing one line on this side and one line on this side? I'm going to close it off at the top. So that's going to be the bird's nest. Now inside that nest is going to be our bird. So I want to start by drawing first just a rainbow shape like this. And then I'm going to draw a big circle right on top. I'm going to finish the neck right here for my bird, and then you're going to decide where your bird's beak is going to be. My bird, I think I'm going to have him singing. So I'm going to be making one triangle for the top beak and one triangle for the bottom beak. I'm going to give my bird a happy eye, like a rainbow, and a big fluffy wing. So to make my wing, I'm going to make a small curve like this and just two loops up on top. I'm going to erase the back out of my wing like that. And I think I'm going to give my bird a little bit of feathers on the top of his head. All right, the next part of our picture is to put a scarf around my reindeer's neck. He looks like he could be a little cold out in the wind. So I'm going to draw a curved line on this side and a curved line on this side. And then I'm going to connect them at the bottom. I'm going to take my eraser and erase the shoulders from underneath the scarf. Now that my scarf is done, I'm going to draw a part of the scarf blowing in the wind. I drew one line up, another line up, and I connected it at the end. You could even put a scarf around your bird's neck if you wanted to. I could erase this section right here. Oh, this might be kind of cute. And I could draw a curved line. I'm just copying what I did here. A curved line on this side and a curved line on this side, connected at the bottom. Right now, he looks like he has a donut around his neck. We better make it look like a scarf. I'm going to add a little small scarf blowing in the wind to match the reindeer. Now that I'm done with all of my pencil lines, I'm going to go in with my marker and trace over my lines. Let's do this together. I'm using a Sharpie marker and I'm going to put the lid on the back. I'm going to begin at the top and work my way down. So I'm going to start with the antlers. And I'm going to do my best to stay on my pencil line. Now, if I'm going too fast for you, do you know what to do? You pause that video and then you turn it back on when you catch up. When you're finished tracing your antlers, then I'm going to trace now my reindeer. You notice when I'm tracing, my marker is not making big squeaky sounds, and that's because I'm not pushing very hard. You want to try to be as soft as you can when you're using your marker. I'm going to trace the rainbow shape of his muzzle, and then I'm going to trace this round circle for his nose. I know my nose is not a perfectly round circle, but that's okay. I'm going to trace the curve of his cheek, and then I'm going to hold my marker straight up and down when I trace his eyes. When I hold my marker straight up and down, I get a skinny point, and it's a little bit easier for tracing. Now remember, we used our pencil to color this part, so now I'm going to use my marker to cover the bottom part of the eye. Oh, and don't worry if when you're coloring this in, if you happen to close up the little white shiny light of the eye, then just go ahead and close them both up. It's okay. It'll look great no matter what. You could add eyelashes if you want to, but you don't have to. Trace the shoulders and the scarf. And when you're all finished, then we're going to go up and trace the bird. Now I'm not going to trace the nest yet. I'll show you a little trick for tracing the nest, but I am going to trace my cute little bird. And the wing. And then I can't forget that little warm scarf around my bird's neck. Now when I do the nest, instead of tracing this in a hard line, it's going to look like he's sitting in a soup bowl. I don't want him to look like he's sitting in a soup bowl. I want it to look like a nest. So instead, I'm going to make some sticks going in different directions because a nest is made out of lots of sticks. So I'm going to have a few sticking out over that shape of the bowl, even a little bit over the top of my reindeer's head. That's looking great. Now, while you have your marker here, think of a pattern that you want to put in the scarf. In my first picture, I did stripes, but maybe you want to make snowflakes. I'll show you a trick for making snowflakes. I make the letter X. Then I make a plus sign right through the middle. And then I draw circles on the ends of each one of the lines. An X, a plus sign, and circles on the ends. Now, when you are finished designing whatever pattern you decided, you could do hearts, you could do stripes, you could do polka dots, you could do rainbows. When you're finished designing your pattern, then we'll go in with our marker or our crayons and color. What kind of pattern should I do on the scarf on the bird? I think I'll do polka dots, little tiny polka dots. All right, when you're finished, please take your magic rub eraser. So close up your markers, get your magic rub eraser, and you're going to very carefully erase your pencil lines. Now take your time on this part. You don't want to hurry when you're erasing because you don't want to wrinkle your paper. So take your time, do your best. Sometimes if I draw too hard, my eraser has a really hard time erasing those pencil lines. Does that happen to you too? So I'm learning that I need to draw a little bit softer. Each time I draw, I try to practice drawing a little bit softer. So it's not quite so hard for me to erase my pencil lines. That looks a little better. Now it's time to color. So we have so many ways that we could color our picture. So I used markers for mine, and I thought that that was quick and easy. But if you don't have markers, you could use crayons, and it would look wonderful. So you're going to decide now what colors you want to make your bird, what color you want to make the beak, and what color you want to make your deer. Now you might notice I did not make my deer brown. I made him kind of a tan color. The color I used was this marker that was in my marker set. And it looks kind of more like a peach color. The brown seemed really dark when I was coloring with it. So I thought that might be a little too dark for my deer. So I can use the brown on his nose, or if you want to make Rudolph the red-nosed reindeer, you could make the nose red. I'm going to let you decide what color. I like to make a little shiny light up at the top. So what I do is I trace a little circle shape right at the top of my nose, and then I very carefully color around that circle. So this is brown. I'm making my reindeer's nose brown, but you could make your reindeer nose any color you'd like. So you see how dark that color is? That's why I'm kind of glad I didn't color my whole reindeer this color. I think it would have been a little dark. But while I have this brown in my hand, this would be a great color to put a few lines in my nest up here. So I am going to use a little brown up in that nest. I'm going to put my marker back in my cup so I can find it later. Next color I'm going to try is this color. And it's a little bit like a peach color. It's very pretty. But if you don't have this color, you could use a light brown crayon. You could use kind of an apricot or a peach color. Now when I'm coloring with my marker, this is my little trick for coloring without scrabbling. I like to take my marker and pull my marker along the longest section, slow and careful like this. This, when I'm tracing very slowly down the face, you'll notice that I get a nice clean line. Now another way that you can color is by scribbling, but if you scribble like this, it's going to take you so much longer to color your picture, and you use so much marker that your ink and your marker might run out by the time you're done. So I have found that if I pull my marker nice and slow like this across my paper, See how slow I'm going? And when I get to a place that's small, like up in here, then I can go very carefully with the tip of my marker in that spot. When you're all done coloring whatever color you are going to make your reindeer, then you're going to have to decide what color to make his scarf or her scarf. Now, I'm not done with my deer at this point. It might look like I'm done, but there's another part to my deer that I can't forget. What part is that? There's another section of my deer. Can you see it? It's this part, the chest. Now, when I'm all done coloring my reindeer's body, then I can go in and choose a color for the scarf. So when you're finished coloring your scarf, then you have to decide what color do you want to make your bird. So birds come in all different beautiful colors in the winter time. So there are red cardinals where some people live. We don't have any cardinals where I live, but I love that color red. I have some brown birds in my backyard, but the brown is kind of the same color as the nest. So I was thinking a different color than brown. We also have some bluebirds. There are birds in my backyard called scrub jays, and they're blue. And then we have another bird where I live called the western bluebird, and he's beautiful. He's kind of a really rich, beautiful blue. So you could make your bird red, you could make your bird blue. It's really up to you. Hey, that rhymes. So maybe I'll make my bird blue this time. Then I'm gonna have to figure out a color for my bird's scarf. The wings and his tummy kind of poking up out of the nest. Oh, and the beak. I know what color to make my beak. I think I'm going to make my beak a bright yellow. What color do you think I should make my scarf? I don't know. I can't make a decision. There's so many pretty colors in my cup to choose from. Maybe pink. I was debating between pink and red. I did red the last time. Now, here's another thing I could do. I could take my yellow marker and add a little yellow lines inside my nest too. Looking cute. Now I have one more little trick. Once you're done coloring your reindeer and your bird and the nest, I want to show you one other thing I like to do. I'm going to change out and go to my crayons now, and I'm going to look for a pink. Now I have a dark pink and a light pink. I'm going to go with a little bit darker pink in my crayon box. You could also use red. If you don't have a pink, you could use red. Red is a pretty color. The dark pink I have is called violet red, but you could use red also. I'm going to very softly take my crayon and very softly put a little bit of pink in the cheeks of my reindeer. I'm also going to put just a tiny bit right here on the inside of his ears, or her ears. Now, what else could I do in the background of my picture? Winter. Think of winter weather. What happens in winter weather when it's cold outside? Where I live, I don't get any of this at my house. However, I have driven to the mountains so I can see it. So I'm going to give you a hint. If I draw a few small circles in the sky, can you guess what these are? Somebody might have said snowballs, little mini snowballs. Well, actually, I'm just going to draw these little circles, and they are going to represent it's snowing. Now, I guess if I drew them really large, it would be a giant snowball fight. So I'm going to go like this and add maybe a couple snowflakes. I'm going to make an X with a plus sign right through the middle and a few little circles on the ends. So if I put a couple snowflakes like this, I bet somebody looking at my picture could tell it is snowing. Now for my final part of my picture, the last thing I can do, if I want to, you can take a little bit of a blue crayon and put just a tiny little curved line in each one of those circles, those little snowflakes coming down, just to add a little bit of color. I hope you had fun today drawing this cute little winter wonderland picture of my two little winter buddies. I had fun teaching you. I would love to see your picture. Can you have your parents take a picture of this and send it to rtorres@lcusd.net? If you email me a picture of your work, I promise to write you back. I hope you had fun. I'll see you next time. Bye-bye.